In today's interest rate markets, let's focus on the 10-year note. We're seeing some selling pressure as we close out the year. The 10-year note down on the day. We're looking at the 7s, the 10s, and the 30s all down. A decent amount today, actually. We're seeing some renewed strength here in the equity markets. At least the equity market's trying to get back above being down on the day. The NASDAQ is up at currently, and as we see the dynamics within the marketplace shift throughout today's action, I want to point out that we did have some economic numbers this morning I think had an influence on the interest rate market. When you look at the current price structure of the 10-year note, we're looking at a 128.11 print on the 10-year. Again, at the lower end of the range, we actually did see it higher initially this morning before some of these numbers came out. And some of the items today, the data points that came out, I think that had an influence on interest rate environment were consumer confidence, 126.5, a little bit lower than expected. 128 was the expectation, but nonetheless still at the top end of the range and a very positive structure going into 2020. And also Case-Shiller housing prices, and we saw that up 2.2% for the month, and again pretty much meeting expectations, continuing to see housing prices slowly grind higher, and with that I think is another reason why we saw maybe a little bit of selling pressure here on the 10-year. Looking at the price action, let's look at the yields as we close out the year. Currently right around the 1.92 level. Now we did see a range today of a high of 1.93, and the low end of the range was actually 1.88 levels. So again, not too big of a move here to close out the year, but ultimately we are seeing rates moderating here. We're seeing them at the top end of the range really for the last several months. And you look at resistance here from a interest rate environment. You're looking at a 1.94 area where you're seeing some resistance there. We did get over it briefly in November, but then for the better part of the last several months, that seems to be the sticking point when you look at rates. And from a price structure for the 10-year, 128 is the low end of that range, and we haven't really closed below the 128 handle, and I think we continue to see support as we trend back down towards the 128 level. Currently, though, holding just above that at the 128.11 level as we close out the year.